Good day, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Ed's Garage. Today we're looking at the 2023 Elantra, but we're not going to do a review on this video. We're just going to talk about all of the available safety features. Now, this particular one, this happens to be an Elantra Preferred with Tech package, and it does have a lot of safety features, but it doesn't have all the safety features that you can get on the Elantra. So I'm going to talk about this one, but I'm also going to talk about the available features for higher trim levels as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll start at the front of the vehicle, kind of go around some of the options in the front, and then we'll go inside the vehicle and talk about what's available there as well. So looking at the front, you can see we have on this particular one, we have projection headlights. Now in higher trim levels, of course, you can get LED headlights and high beams, and that of course offers you a little bit better visibility at night. However, what we do have on the front of this one is the forward-facing camera, and that of course is for the autonomous emergency braking system, as well of course as the lane departure warning system and lane keep assist. So this one being the Preferred Tech, it has the forward collision avoidance assist with pedestrian detection. However, in the higher trim levels, that adds also cyclist detection and junction turning detection. So junction turning detection is essentially when you're about to make a left turn and it picks up cars coming towards you, it will actually stop you from going through that intersection. Now, the included lane departure warning system and lane keep assist, essentially that forward-facing camera will detect the lines on the road, and if you start to drift over the line, you'll get an audible notification inside the vehicle, but you'll also have a little bit of steering input, and it'll kind of put you back into the center of the lane. So that's pretty cool. Pedestrian detection, it will detect pedestrians both walking down the street and crossing the street. Now, the other thing I forgot to mention with the headlights is it does have automatic high beams, so if you're coming towards another vehicle, your high beams are on, it will actually shut them off temporarily, assuming that your headlights are in the auto position. Now, one other interesting feature is the driver attention warning system, but it also includes forward leading vehicle departure alert. So using that camera, if it detects that the car in front of you has started to drive off, you'll get a little warning saying, hey, you can actually go. Now, that's not necessarily a safety feature, but it's part of the same system that the camera is used for. Now, on the tires, these are mud and snow rated tires, of course, across the lineup. With the exception of the Elantra N, that'll come with summer tires, or sort of a racing slick, not slick, but racing tire. But these are including a tire pressure monitoring system. So as far as safety goes, it's always important to have the correct pressure in your tires. So tire pressure monitoring system all the way around. It actually tells you how many PSI that each tire is. You can also see these are disc brakes. So we've got disc brakes front and rear. Of course, that's part of safety. And then in the Elantra N line, you do get a larger disc brakes for increased stopping power. Moving towards the back of the vehicle, we can also add that this does have a backup camera, of course. Now, with the backup camera, you do have dynamic steering lines, so you'll be able to see exactly where you need to go quite easily. But it also includes, in higher trim levels, at least the Preferred and up, you get blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. So when you're backing out of a parking space, it'll pick up cars and pedestrians coming from the sides and basically warn you if it sees something. But even more than that, the sensors that are in the bumpers, when they pick up a pedestrian or a car about to pass behind the vehicle, if you're still moving backwards, not only will you get the warning, but it'll also hit the brakes to avoid a collision or hitting a pedestrian. The other nice thing with the blind spot monitor is if you're going down the road and the blind spot monitor has indicated that there's a car beside you and you put your turn signal on, of course you get that audible warning. But if you still tend to go over, what it does is it brakes the opposite side wheels a little bit just to kind of tug you back into your lane to avoid that collision. And that's in the Preferred trim and up. And then finally, the last thing that sensor can actually do is if you've just parallel parked and there's a car coming down the road, it'll actually warn you before opening up your doors that there's a car coming, so you don't inadvertently flip the door out when that car is about to drive by. And last thing, but certainly not least, before I jump into the vehicle and show you some of the features there, one thing that this particular trim level does not have that you will get in the Luxury and the Ultimate is a forward-facing radar system for adaptive smart cruise control. So that is also considered a safety feature. But yeah, let's go inside the vehicle and talk about the rest of the technology. All right, so jumping into the Elantra, one of the coolest features that is standard with the Elantra, if you open up the rear doors anytime after unlocking the vehicle and then close the rear doors and get in and drive, when you shut the vehicle off, it'll actually remind you that you may have put something in the rear seat, whether it's a parcel or a child. So it's actually pretty neat. It'll come up on the instrument cluster right here. It'll say check rear seat. So it's basically your rear seat reminder. Now, a couple of the features I mentioned on the outside, I want to show you what they look like on the inside. So let's start with the backup camera. So there's two ways to turn on the backup camera. One is I can put the vehicle into reverse. Two is I can just press this camera button right here, and you'll see it actually comes up very nice and clear. But when you just press that button, you don't get the dynamic steering line. So let's do that. Put it into reverse. And there's the dynamic steering lines. And if we turn the steering wheel, it basically shows where we're going to end up. The other nice thing about the backup camera is that you can adjust the angle so it's straight down over the bumper. And you can see we got a really, really easy means to back up now. Let me just switch it back to that one there. There we go. So really nice clear image, high resolution. I mean, you can see the actual chain link fence quite clearly, and even the lines on the building behind us there. It's a really, really good system. Next thing I'm going to show you in the instrument cluster here, I can actually utilize these two buttons to kind of go through the instrument cluster. I'm going to show you what the tire pressure monitor screen looks like. And keep in mind that we do need to drive in order to get the tire pressure monitor to display, but there it is right there. So tire pressure monitors, essentially what will happen is you'll have a PSI rating beside each one of the tires as you drive. And you won't see that until you've actually hit the road though. Now the Elantra is equipped with 6 airbags. Of course you have the one in the steering wheel, one in the dashboard in front of the passenger. There are impact airbags that come out of the seats here, and as well there's an airbag in each one of the B pillars. So that airbag goes all the way back to the rear seat, so it protects the occupants' heads in the back as well as the front, and then the side impact airbags come out of the seat and protect the driver and passenger. So not bad. I mean, there are future vehicles we'll see more airbags, but 6 airbags in an economy car is pretty good. Having a quick look at the left stock here, you can see we do have automatic headlights, which is nice. But one little sort of underrated safety feature that I really like about Hyundais is if you leave the headlights in the on position so that you have taillights during the day, if you shut the vehicle off, it'll actually turn all the lights off anyway. You don't need to remember to put these on auto or to turn them off. Essentially, you can leave it on full on all the time and have headlights and taillights on at the same time. And you can see here for the high beams, not sure if you can read that, but it says auto. The only one gripe that I have is when you put on the high beams, it only has the auto function if the headlights are also on auto in that setting there. Now, as I mentioned, in the luxury and up, you do get adaptive cruise control. So on this particular vehicle, I have our cruise control buttons here. You can set the cruise control, turn it on. You've also got increase, decrease speed. And then this button is the pause, resume. In the luxury and up, this button will be the adaptive cruise adjustment. So it'll change how far you follow the car in front of you. And then this one here, if you press it in, will be the pause and resume. So that's the slight difference between other trim levels and the luxury and ultimate. Another safety feature of the luxury and ultimate is a power e-brake. So this one, of course, just has a manual e-brake. The power e-brake, you'll find the button for it down here. What's nice about that and why we consider it a safety feature is because it'll automatically set the e-brake when you put the vehicle into park if you're on a hill. It also has the auto hold feature as well, so that you don't roll back on a hill if it's really, really steep, or roll forwards. You can turn on auto hold and the car won't move until you press the accelerator. Now, one small thing that is included, well, not so small, on the luxury hybrid and the N-Line Ultimate is rear multi-link suspension. So a little bit better suspension handling and stuff like that, especially when going around corners at higher speeds. If you hit a bump or whatever on the freeway, there's less shimmy in the back. Could be a little bit safer as well. So that's something that's only on the luxury hybrid and the N-Line Ultimate. Also only available on the luxury hybrid is the rear parking sensors. Now, keep in mind, pretty much every other trim level has the backup camera with collision avoidance assist, but the hybrid only has the rear parking sensor. So that's the little audible warning when you get close to an object. Let's go through the menus on both screens here just to see what they include. Now, on this particular screen, the only safety sort of feature other than what comes up when there's a warning or whatever, is the attention level reminder. So this vehicle basically monitors how attentively you are driving. If there's a lot of jerky inputs to the steering wheel, or if it needs to correct for you on a regular basis, you'll see that attention level drop. Once it gets to a point that's too low, it'll actually suggest that you consider taking a break. It's pretty cool. And on this screen here, we have the settings. Now, there's a lot to talk about in the settings here, but I'm going to try to focus on just the safety technology. We'll get rid of the plastic here just so it's a little easier to see. But here we go. So we have driver assistance settings on the left. Now, if I just tap one of these, it'll kind of bring up all of the different settings. So we're going to start at the top here. So we have different warning times that we can adjust. Warning methods. So here we can see driving safety priority. Basically, it's able to lower the system volume so that you can actually hear the warnings easily. You can also have it automatically lower the volume of the stereo when you're parking. So if you're in reverse, it'll lower the stereo volume. So it just makes it a little bit easier to concentrate. Under driving attention warning, so here's our leading vehicle departure alert that I mentioned earlier, and the inattentive driving warning, which again was what we just covered. Under forward safety, so we have active assist, so provides warning and vehicle control when a risk of forward collision is detected. Now keep in mind, the higher trim levels do also include, as I mentioned, the pedestrian detection, cyclist detection, and junction turning detection. Under lane safety, here we can see our automatically assist to sort of keep us centered in the lane. And one thing I forgot to mention, you can actually enable low speed lane keep assist right here. So that'll basically do it from 0 to 64 kilometers an hour. And then by default, this one will stay on, at all times if you keep it on assist for higher speeds. So speeds at 64 kilometers an hour or faster. Under our blind spot safety options here, you can see we got safe exit assist, which I mentioned earlier. So assists occupants in safely exiting the vehicle by detecting traffic in the blind spot and providing a warning. And then active assist provides a warning in vehicle control when risk of blind spot collision is detected by braking the wheels on the opposite side of the vehicle, essentially is what it does there. Under parking safety, we can enable and disable rear cross traffic, so it provides warning and emergency braking when a risk of a rear cross traffic collision is detected while reversing. And here we can also go into our camera settings. And that's pretty much it under that section there. And then there, of course, is some other options here as well, one of which is under cluster here. So if we go into cluster and then content selection, this is also safety related as well, in my opinion. So with wiper lights displays pop-up confirming wiper and light selected settings. Anytime you adjust the window wipers or the headlights or whatnot, it actually shows you in a little indicator right here. So you don't have to necessarily look at the stock, which is kind of nice. Keeps your eyes on, closer to the road. Traffic signs, so displays traffic signs such as speed limits. Now, this is only available on vehicles equipped with navigation, but essentially it'll put the traffic signs in the instrument cluster, if it's able to detect the signs and whatnot. You've also got icy road warning, so it provides you a warning when the roads may be slick. So anytime the temperature is 4 degrees or less, you'll get that icy road warning. Under door here, you can see we have automatic lock to enable on shift. So when you put the vehicle into drive, it automatically locks. And then if you put it into park, it automatically unlocks. And then, as I mentioned earlier, under the convenience section, we have the rear occupant alert. So an alert to the driver that passengers are in the rear seat of the vehicle. So when you shut the vehicle off, that reminder to make sure you get the passengers out of the rear of the vehicle. I think that pretty much covers it for the actual safety features that you can see and interact with. One thing, though, I'll add is that these vehicles now are constructed with over 50% advanced high-strength steel construction and hundreds of feet of structural adhesive. Now, the advanced high-strength steel, of course, increases the overall rigidity of the vehicle, makes it a little bit better for handling, for road noise, overall creaks and squeaks in the future as well. But the structural adhesive increases the strength of all of the welded spot points, as well as, not just in the front of the vehicle, but as well as in the back of the vehicle as well. So that's something that you don't see hundreds of feet on other vehicles, other manufacturers. There's a couple other, like Cadillac uses hundreds of feet as well. But essentially, whenever there's a couple of pieces of metal that need to be spot welded together or whatever, they can sandwich that as structural adhesive in between there to just make that welded point much stronger. On top of that, a structural adhesive allows you to combine materials that ordinarily can't be combined due to things like a galvanic response and whatnot. You can't put aluminum and steel next to each other because they'll tend to cause each other corrosion. So sandwiching that structural adhesive in there eliminates that problem as well. So a very, very good comprehensive suite of safety technology in these vehicles. Again, with higher trim levels with BlueLink. This one actually does have BlueLink. You can see here it has the SOS button, so if you see an emergency or have an emergency, you can press that. But it also calls emergency services for you automatically. Now, BlueLink is available on basically the preferred with tech package and up. So the preferred with tech package, the luxury hybrid, the Elantra N-Line Ultimate, as well as the Elantra N, all have BlueLink for free for 3 years. So if you get into an accident, airbags deploy, it automatically calls emergency services to your location, and you can also hit that button to do so as well. On top of that, with BlueLink, of course, you can find the car on your phone, remote start the car from your phone, unlock the doors, lock the doors, that sort of thing. So a good comprehensive suite of telematics software. The Elantra was also a top safety pick for 2022 and 2023 by the International Institute of Highway Safety, despite the International Institute of Highway Safety's ratings becoming a bit more difficult to achieve. So for 2023, a lot of vehicles lost their top safety pick status. The Elantra did maintain it. So a good, safe, compact vehicle with a mid-size class interior. Definitely one that should be on the top of your list if you're looking at fuel-efficient compact sedans. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope this video helped you out to make a decision. If you have any questions about anything we've discussed here, please don't hesitate to comment below. And if the video was helpful to you, please, please, please subscribe and like the video for future reference. You can also hit the bell icon if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Again, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Take care.